All right, people. Something major is now starting to happen in Australia, thanks to people like you and me, and of course, Pauline Hanson of One Nation. People have been looking at what's been happening to the UK for the last 10, 20 years, and we are now starting to see that happen in Australia, which you don't need to be a genius to work out why that is happening. This is what's been happening to Australia. That didn't used to happen 20 years ago. This is a Sydney shopping centre, completely overrun by Islamists and jihadis who hate Western way of life, who hate Australia, who hate Australian values. That's not just an isolated incident. We've seen plenty of these things. I'm sure you remember this from earlier this year. This guy is a known Hizb ut-Tahrir jihadi, literal jihadi. The police told them to move on, but instead they came up with a solution to create a scene. They blocked a footpath and started praying, hoping that the police won't touch them. But the police did the right thing and gave them a move on order and kicked them out. And some of these woke, lunatic idiots like these useful idiots, they were trying to stop the police. Anyway, I'm not done yet. What do I mean by what is happening in Australia? This is what I mean by that.
I'm smiling and I'm happy. I'm elated. It's a day of courage.
And then after that, they started crying when Israel retaliated and completely flattened Gaza. The Sydney Muslim community on the 8th of October was celebrating what Hamas had just done. Butchered, killed, maimed, beheaded, raped innocent Israeli civilians. This guy was celebrating. Can you imagine a true blue Australian, someone who is raised by Australian cultural values, celebrating the 9/11 terrorist attacks the very next day on the 12th of September? No. So that's what's changed in Australia. Well, I'm not done yet. This happened on the 8th of October. F the Jews too, by the way. Not Israelis, F the Jews. Look how many of them are there. How many? So they can't even say that, oh, you know, there's some extremists. I don't know if you remember, 10, 15 years ago, moderate Muslims used to say that, oh, it's only a handful of extremists. Piers Morgan, etc. They still say the same thing from the 2010s. But Muslims don't even do that. Even though the moderate lipstick Muslims, they don't even hide that anymore. Literally dozens of examples. And what you just saw here, how many are they? Is that a handful? Is that a handful of Muslims? It's a lot of Muslims. A lot. Okay? And it's not only just Muslims, unfortunately. Let me show you what happened earlier this month on the 2nd of April in Melbourne, of all cities. This is Melbourne. I don't know where it is. There was a riot by African youth, looting riots, and a new phenomena that we have observed in Western liberal democracies. Only used to happen in black neighborhoods in America, but didn't used to happen in Europe, or definitely not in Australia. This is a first, I think probably second or third major incident. Before COVID, I don't think I ever saw that happen, ever. So something fundamentally has changed in Australia, okay? So that gave rise to Pauline Hanson's One Nation Party and her rhetoric. I fully support that. But for my American and British audiences who don't understand how Australia works, so just like your country, we've had a two-party system. Okay, well, the second party is a coalition. It is called the coalition. So Labor is a center-left political party. I would say they're drifting further to the left because the Overton window has shifted. Everything is out in the whack. I don't even know. Maybe I'm far right. Those labels don't matter anymore. So our Liberals are our Tories or the Republican Party. But on their own, they've never been big enough. So they've always needed an alliance with the Nationals. That is also a center-right party. So their alliance is called the Coalition. And they've been very successful electorally, but not recently because of what I just showed you. So the coalition, who was supposed to be center-right, they also drifted a bit to the left. They have not been conservative by any stretch of imagination. Maybe that's just the inevitable consequence of Western liberal democracies, because you have to keep evolving, and the evolution has been in the left direction until very recently. Because now, pardon my French, shit has hit the fan. Now what I just showed you is happening at scale pretty much everywhere in the world. So either these traditionally conservative parties become true conservative parties or go extinct, as we are witnessing that in the UK. The Tories are upping the ante, but they've lost ground to reform and restore. And the same thing is happening here in Australia, which, by the way, I called about a couple of years ago. I've been saying that, and I am making another prediction that Labor is going to go extinct and it will be replaced by a new left-wing party. Just like we have a new right in Australia, we're going to have a new left in Australia, and I fear it's going to be the Greens, as it has been the case in the UK. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I only have to look to the UK, our cultural ancestor. So now that you understand who the coalition are, they are also, like their counterparts in the UK, the Tories, upping the ante. Angus Taylor is the leader of the opposition party, but probably not for long. We're going to have our next general election in 2028, and I am predicting both Labour and the coalition, they will lose their status. There will be a new left. For now, Labour seems secure as the major left-wing party of Australia, but a lot can happen in the next 2 years, because the people that I just showed you, they're not going away, guys. We are going to see a lot more of those videos. We're going to see a lot more looting and rioting and ghettoization and chants of Allahu Akbar and Muslims doing Muslimy things. We're going to see a lot more of that over the next 2 years, and mainstream Australians are going to get sick and tired of it. Some people will drift further to the left, to the Greens, and some people will drift further to the right, to One Nation. So we're going to have more extreme versions of right and left. And that's the society we live in. It's not because people are racist. It's not because people are more radicalized. It's just because the ground reality has changed. So Angus Taylor, the new leader of the opposition party, made some very interesting statements. Have a listen.
Immigration is a key concern for Australians. There's no doubt about that. We have a proud history of welcoming people from across the world, people who have embraced our values, who have worked hard.
Who do we mean by that? That has always been a go-to line and a go-to policy, but somewhere along the line, it got lost. To think that a Pakistani or a Bangladeshi or a Syrian or Afghan is going to immigrate to Australia and he's going to integrate into the mainstream Australian community like a British person who immigrates to Australia is a monumentally stupid position. Anyone who thinks that, I'm sorry, you could be forgiven for thinking that back in the day, but now you have no excuse. When you bring in people from Africa or from Asia or from Southeast Asia, wherever you bring them from, they're not going to integrate. Okay, they're going to bring their own way of life. And that way of life, especially if it's a Muslim way of life, it is going to clash with the Australian way of life. Every other culture is allowed to preserve its way of life, but for some reason, only white Europeans or Anglos are not allowed to preserve their own culture. These people, these self-righteous, virtue-signaling, pro-multicultural people, I want these people to go to the Amazon rainforest, to the African savannah, go to the Maasai tribe and tell them, hey, you guys are too monoculturalist. Come on, bring in some other cultures. Be a bit more multicultural. You and I both know what will happen to them. They will be cannibalized. So they should be. But for some reason, the West has to adopt and embrace third world, hostile cultures, cultures that have nothing in common with Western values or with Australian culture or any other Western culture you live in, be it Britain or France or Germany or America or Canada. So that was the go-to position, okay? However, we have observed that it wasn't as simple as that. So we got to have a new solution. We got to adjust to preserve our way of life. What is that? Listen to this.
Who have aspired for the Australian dream and in so many cases realised it in extraordinary terms.
Australian dream. Sorry, I have to stop you. I'll play the whole video again uninterrupted. It's only 52 seconds long. Australian dream is having a car and having a house. Okay, it's a pretty simple Australian dream, which is out of the range of most young people. It's a smaller version of the American dream. But when you bring in people from other cultures, they view Australian dream as something else. Australia is a welfare state. We have a very robust welfare system. We have a department called Centrelink, which looks after the needy, disabled people, jobless people, homeless people, etc. We give them money. Bare minimum for an ordinary Australian to maintain his lifestyle. So if you're an ordinary Australian, then you're not going to like I don't know, whatever the rate is, $1,400, $1,000 a fortnight or a week, whatever that is. It's not going to be enough for a normal, ordinary Australian to live according to his Australian way of life. But when you bring in a person from Afghanistan who has 4 kids, 5 kids, and they're going to add in a couple more, they love that. They're like, oh, wow, this Australian dream is amazing. They love that. So their version of Australian dream is different from the Australian dream as we know it. Okay, let me start again. Uninterrupted.
Immigration is a key concern for Australians. There's no doubt about that. We have a proud history of welcoming people from across the world. People who have embraced our values, who have worked hard, who have aspired for the Australian dream and in so many cases realised it in extraordinary terms. And we heard some stories about that earlier today. But things have changed under Labor. As I've repeatedly said, the numbers are too high and the standards are too low.
Standards are too low. I showed you the standards.
And both must change. Under my leadership, the Liberals are resolute. We're resolved on immigration, resolute to return to sustainable levels of immigration, and resolved to put Australian values at the centre of immigration policy.
Australian values at the centre of everything. Okay, I'm not throwing my weight behind Angus Taylor because I have also become disillusioned with these mainstream political parties. I think they're trying to gain ground, or they're trying to stop the leakage of their voter base to One Nation. I say even One Nation has to be a bit more harsher, kind of like Rupert Lowe. This is what Rupert Lowe said. This is a Christian country under a Restore Britain government. It would stay that way. I'm an atheist, but I want Christianity to stay in Australia. I want Australia to maintain its Christian roots, because we have seen what happens when you suddenly take out the dominant religion from your community, okay? No, I'm not obviously saying that you should ban abortion and you should start meddling in the Australian legislative framework. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about fundamental values, okay? Christianity and secularism in the West have worked together really well for the last 200 or 300 years. In Australia, ever since we became a federation in 1901, okay, Australia is a secular country constitutionally, but it has maintained its Christian roots up until very recently. So what do we mean by that? Ban halal slaughter, ban cousin marriage, ban burqa/niqab. Sharia courts banned foreigners promoting Islam, deported. Islamism, he said, but yeah, deported. Mass Islamic public prayer banned. Public call to prayer, when you hear them, Allah, when you hear those shrieks, banned. He missed one thing in this. Ban Islamic faith schools. Seriously, ban them. Anyone who tries a work around those bans, citizenship cancelled, deported. Desperate times call for desperate measures. That's what we want in Australia. And I don't think Angus Taylor of the Liberal Party or of the coalition is going to do that. He's not going to achieve that. He sets sustainable levels of immigration. What is that? Right now we're importing, I don't know, something like 300, 400,000 new people a year, mostly from India. And guess what? Again, I have said that Indian migrants are much better migrants than migrants from Muslim countries, okay? It's a fact. But again, that doesn't mean that whatever they do is in line with Australia. Because we have imported a lot more Indians, so we are not only just seeing Holi and Diwali, which I think also should be managed, because I'm starting to see a lot of Australians are getting upset with that because of the trail of destruction that Indians or people leave behind after the Holi or Diwali celebrations or events. Look at this. This form of discrimination is growing in Australia, from assault to segregated birthday parties. What do they mean by that? Have a look at this. Caste discrimination, which is only exclusive to Indian society, Hindu society, not even Muslim Indian, Hindu society. So they have a concept of untouchability, Dalits, lower caste people. They have a role in society, and upper caste people like the Brahmins, they consider some people, which is I think 40% of the Hindu community overall in the world, they're called Dalits, untouchables. I know the Indian government is doing its best try to overcome that problem. That's why Prime Minister Modi actually made a, India's president, she comes from the Dalit community. She supposedly, traditionally comes from that untouchable category, but she's not. So the Indian government is trying to overcome that. But, that's not how it works. Muslim governments can tell you that we're trying to tackle radicalism or Islamism, but it doesn't work that way. These values are ingrained in their national psyche for thousands of years. They don't go overnight by simply banning something. So when we bring in a lot of Indians, we bring in caste discrimination as well, as it is mentioned by SBS. It's a very respectable news media outlet in Australia. So lo and behold, Jacinta Allen, who is the Premier of the state of Victoria, where I live in Melbourne, she has ruined our state. Melbourne used to win the most livable city in the world consistently for 10 or 11 years in a row. Those were the good old days of the 2010s. And then COVID happened. Anyway, so Jacinta Allen, look what she's saying. My thoughts on the Liberals' extreme race-based migration policy. What do you mean race-based? He said Australian values at the forefront. What is wrong with that? See, they have the same talking points that they're repeating here. This Trump-style policy will go after Chinese families, Muslims, and even Christians from places like Lebanon and Iraq. Really? From what I have seen, post-October 7th, the Lebanese Christian community has come out and called out the Lebanese Muslim community. Remember the Lebanese Christian woman that I played a while ago, where she was going at her own Muslim community from Lebanon? Because the people that I just played you earlier, most of them are from Lebanon.
I am Lebanese and I was born in Australia. My parents came from Lebanon when they were very young. And I have lived in this country, and this country has served our family well. And we have lived in this world and we have respected the laws of this land. And I just want to apologise on behalf of my race for the embarrassment caused for people that come from Lebanon, that aren't born here, that aren't Australian citizens, come here to cause harm, hate, and destruction.
So there's a Lebanese Muslim community and there's a Lebanese Christian community. The Lebanese Christian community have integrated really well into Australian society, but the Lebanese Muslim community, they're chanting, gas the Jews. Where's the Jews? F the Jews. Firebombing synagogues and Jewish business places. So no, Jacinta Allen, you are disgusting. You are the worst thing that could have happened to our state. Your dog whistling, your race card is not going to work. Australia is going to change. It's just un-Australian. Really, in this country, we care about who you are, not where you're from. Yeah, who you are. If you're a jihadi, we don't want you. If you want to create Muslim ghettos where you're going to chant, gas the Jews, we don't want you. So anyway, the two peas in a pod, okay? Whether you're Labour or Liberal or the coalition, I don't care. This is why it's important for Pauline Hanson to keep upping the rhetoric, okay? I don't know, maybe being a white woman, she can't say it. I'll keep saying it. Ban Islamic schools, ban the burqa/niqab, ban halal slaughter, ban cousin marriage, ban Islamist preaching. Oh, can't like this. This is what I meant by deport, cancel citizenships of those who preach this. This guy's an Aussie imam. Have a listen to him.
Now, I ask you, who were the greatest enemies of the Prophet of Allah throughout his entire life? Which nation? Still.
No, not back 1400 years ago. Still.
Yahud, right?
Yahud means the Jews.
So this is recorded, to be very careful.
This is recorded, so I have to be very careful. This guy, his name is Imam Uzair Akbar. Okay, he's in Sydney, of all places, of course. And these are Jacinta Allen's party members, Labour ministers. This is Multicultural Minister Julian Hill, MP. There he is. And look at this. And they're covering their heads. They're wearing makeshift hijabs. So that's Labour Party for you, okay? They have made their bed and they're going to lie in it. The coalition is now trying to, do some damage control, and they're trying to come out and say, well, immigration, we need to do something. Sorry, you don't only just need to slow down immigration to sustainable levels. We need to clean up. Otherwise, we're going to end up like the UK. Have a look at this fresh video that just came out of the UK. This is northwest London.
It's like a little Ethiopia.
This is London, guys. This is northwest London. Do you want Melbourne to look like this? Do you want Albert Park, St Kilda, Brighton look like? It will happen. Downtown Sydney is going to be like that. I don't know the names of Sydney suburbs, Parramatta or whatever. Manly Beach. Imagine. This is going to be, oh my God, I shouldn't be laughing at this. We should be crying. Oh my goodness. Guys, this is going to happen, okay? This is going to happen. Politicians like Anthony Albanese, Jacinta Allen, all of these Labour politicians are going to keep gaslighting you, and they're going to say, you're racist, just like she said. In this country, we don't care where you're from. We care about who you are. Yeah, that's who you are. People are the reflection of their culture and their way of life. They bring their ways of life into our countries that have a diametrically opposite way of life. We don't have to tolerate that. Yeah, if you come in, become like me, I live like a Western man, completely westernized. I don't say my birth culture or Pakistani or a Muslim culture should take over Australia. I don't say that. I don't believe in that. In fact, I oppose that because I know it will be a shithole if Australia imports a foreign third world culture, not even if a first world culture, let's say Japanese culture. Why does Australia have to lose its own identity? And then these people make fun of it. What's your culture? Yeah, fish and chips, is that your culture? No, food is not the only thing that defines you. Look what Australians have built in a desert on the driest continent on earth. A highly successful, prosperous country. A culture of honesty, rule of laws, liberty, free speech. By the way, all of these values are actually under a direct assault by lefty politicians who are trying to accommodate these people that I just showed you, who are trying to erode Australian values. So I welcome the statement by Angus Taylor, but sorry, too late. You have to say a lot more harsher things. You do. And if we want to make sure that the next generation of our immigrants don't hold on to their parent culture's grievances, parent culture's way of life, then you have to take out faith schools. Indians don't have Indian faith schools, okay? So you cannot have Islamic faith schools. Those Islamic faith schools in Epping, in Australia, in Melbourne, I don't know many others, they are worse than Taliban faith schools. They're segregated. Girls wear those ninja outfits. Boys look like they are from medieval Middle East. We don't want that. We need to ban that. Stopping the inflow of people from hostile cultures is one thing, but if you want to make sure that our next generation doesn't become like how British Muslims have turned out to be, shut down faith schools. Shut them down. You're not winning any brownie points. These people are not saying, thank you, Australia, for letting us live according to our way of life. No, they're breeding the next generation of jihadis who hate you. Hey, look, you bombed Iran, you bombed Syria, you bombed Pakistan, you bombed Afghanistan. Oh, we hate you. That's the next generation. Just look at the UK. Let me end this video with this, okay? I don't want Australia to look like this. Sorry. What is this? Look at this. This is Jacinta Allen. This is our premier. She attended a, multicultural event, and she's sitting like a proper dhimmi. You know what a dhimmi is? A dhimmi is a second-class non-Muslim citizen in an Islamic caliphate. She looks like a proper dhimmi. Oh, to be fair, she didn't put the hijab on. Fair enough. But she will be forced to the moment they gain more influence. What is it? What is this? What is this? I don't like it. I don't want this. I don't like this. I don't want this. Is it really wrong to say this? I don't want it. Sorry. We need rehabilitation of those we can't deport. And if we can't rehabilitate them, sorry, go and live amongst your people who behave like that. We don't want that. Sorry, it's not a wrong thing to say. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So Angus Taylor is trying to bring the coalition back to the centre right, but that's not good enough.